Thank you. Thank you very much, Thomas, and good morning, everybody. Here we go. Look, today I'd like to talk to you all about a pressing challenge. 2009 was the first year in which we saw over 1 billion people move into areas of chronic hunger, malnutrition and poverty. That's almost 1/6 of the population which doesn't have access to science and technology. Now, the benefits of science and technology. Now, a lot of this malnutrition is actually preventable. This is the official statistic, or the official causes of deaths of children in these areas. And if you look at neonatal causes, diarrhea, malaria, some of these areas, there's actually a lot of science and technology available that can prevent that. A good example is what they call the Plumpy Nut. This was a project that was instituted in 2006 with a company called Nutriset. Plumpy Nut was a thing which would actually take nut-based technology, add milk, add some glucose, add some micronutrients, and would actually help children like this. The interesting thing is, before they had Plumpy Nut, they would only reach 10% of the malnourished children in the Ethiopian highlands, the Wollo highlands. After Plumpy Nut, they were reaching 70%. And now this is all existing technology, which if unlocked, could actually make a huge difference. This was actually done with a lot of the food industry. So our idea is to actually look at this, the patented world. There are 5.6 million patents in force at the moment. And if you know anything about the patent space, patents are designed to be a temporary monopoly to reward invention. The problem is that those patents actually also sometimes prevent access to benefits for developing communities. And what we think the challenge is, there's 3 uses for knowledge. There's the commercial uses at the top, that might be the 2 billion people in the developed world. There's the emerging market uses, so the folks in India or China, the 3 billion there. But there's this space down the bottom, the humanitarian uses. These uses, and this is what our idea, the whole idea of global responsibility licensing is about. Global responsibility licensing is about unlocking the knowledge in this bottom area, the 1 billion people, while making sure we're maintaining the competitiveness of companies who own this IP for the commercial and emerging market uses. At the heart of this idea is not just global responsibility licensing, but a global responsibility license. This is meant to look modular, by the way. It's very hard to find a word for that, picture for that. Modular licenses, a license, a standard patent license, which defines what these humanitarian uses are, and actually creates terms which companies can start to feel comfortable about. Those terms can include things like geographical spreads. So here's the least developed triggers for the least developed countries, many of which don't have strong patent regimes in the first place, so you're not actually losing anything. And, or it could also include developing countries, or it may be the whole of world. But what gets really interesting is if you start looking at the uses side of this. And when we define humanitarian uses, we look at things like subsistence, so this is for people's own use, not for entry into a marketplace. We look at development, disaster recovery, and we look at development uses for those under $1 a day, earning under $1 a day. And you can see from a commercial perspective, there is no market for those areas. Now, what we're trying to do at the moment is we're trying to get a coalition of the NGO community, and we actually have Concern Worldwide, one of the co-founders of this idea, Siobhan, who's actually not here because she's actually doing a whole lot of work with Haiti. And through Concern, want to engage, and through the initiative with a whole lot of other NGOs. We're also looking at a key stakeholder, which is the business community, because the owners of IP, we think we've got the nice sort of balance between commercial needs and global responsibility. And so we're very keen to talk with businesses or other large holders of IP into ways in which we might be able to help them assert their global responsibility. We're also talking very much with the science community. I work for the National Research Agency in Australia, and we're actually also the largest IP holder in Australia as well. We're members of a thing called the Global Research Alliance, and the Global Research Alliance is a partner for this initiative now. They employ 80,000 researchers around the world, all who we think could actually help to get these benefits. And finally, it's about bringing it all together, which is with the legal community, and we're working with organisations such as WIPO, the Creative Commons, the Licensing Executive Society, and I should say that Baker & McKenzie, the global law firm, has been giving us all the pro bono legal support for this initiative. Because what we're really trying to do is get that right balance between all of those 4 different constituencies, the science, the business, the NGO and donor, and the legal community. I should say, just finally, and Thomas mentioned this earlier, this is actually an initiative of the Young Global Leaders, the Forum of Young Global Leaders, and we think it's really important that the World Economic Forum is a great place that can actually convene some thoughts around this, and I look forward to discussing it with you later.